Hello, my name is Leah Shmerling. I'm the Director and Principal Consultant of Crown Coaching and Training. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with David Philipsen. You are the CEO, the founder of Bono Money. If I could also put in a label, you are an entrepreneur. So what's an entrepreneur?
Thanks, Leah. What's an entrepreneur? I think an entrepreneur is a person who can see opportunities and a person who basically has no boundaries when it comes to looking for opportunities in business.
Wow, that sounds exciting. No boundaries. People would love that.
Yes, obviously there are boundaries with compliance and law and social norms, but there are opportunities all over the marketplace in various businesses and entities and various streams of business as well. So it's being able to identify what those opportunities might be and capitalising on them.
Sounds exciting. I'm very interested because you started off in the corporate world in IT and sales to your journey of being an entrepreneur. So if you could let us know a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. I started in IT straight out of high school, and I moved to a company that at the time was the second largest computer company in the world, and they did a lot of fantastic internal training, personal development as well as technical training, and they enabled me to progress from the systems administration into the sales side, and then I worked for a few other companies as well before going out on my own and running my own business.
So when you say you left school, like is that straight after school?
I was actually, interestingly enough, one company came to the school and said they had a full-time job. Would there be any suitable candidates that might like to apply for that job? And it was in the area of information technology, which was still fairly in its infancy back then in the early 80s. And the school approached me and asked me to go for an interview, which I did.
That's really interesting. So obviously the school also saw some qualities that you possessed that enabled you to do the role. So, you know, your competition for the job was the whole school.
Yeah. There's obviously quite a few kids going to in year 12 then, but not a lot of people were actually doing. I was doing a particular course in information technology at the school and deemed to be a suitable applicant. So very fortunate to be selected, and amongst all the students at the school, especially back in those times, you weren't assured of getting a job when you left school for a period of time.
Terrific. So what's a typical day for an entrepreneur?
Well, it can vary. There are obviously a number of things. I think a typical day can sometimes be driven by interruptions, but also you've got to focus on what generates the revenue and what the task is at hand, and keep your goals close in mind. So when you are productive every day, moving towards that goal. But what gets thrown at you could vary, and you have to be flexible enough to shuffle around your diary to be able to respond to situations as they arise.
Great qualities there. So what's exciting and what's challenging about being an entrepreneur?
Probably these days the most challenging thing is all the compliance and the legislation about running a company, and all those laws and the responsibilities that a director has. So it's a good idea to have the right sort of people around you who can help manage those disciplines, if you like, so you can release yourself to focus on the opportunities that come along.
So are you able to share with us some of the opportunities that you have invested in?
I've been involved. My investments have mainly been in property. So before I moved into finance broking, I've been a property investor for the last 20 years as well myself, and so I got to understand what it was like to invest in property and to borrow funds and to develop properties, which I've been doing since 1994. So, and then I'm obviously involved in this finance broking company because it's a product that I understood, and to some degree, the sales process is a little bit easier than dealing with larger corporate companies in the IT world.
So probably a question that's coming through my mind, because I used to teach leadership: are entrepreneurs born or made?
Good question. I think entrepreneurs, I think the answer is actually both. It sounds like I'm sitting on the fence. If you asked me 20 years ago, would I ever be considered to be an entrepreneur? The answer was no. But I think I've done a lot of self-development and myself, and a lot of reading, and I think, and I've also done a lot of training, which sort of leads you to expanding your own personal experiences and expand your mind so you are open to opportunities.
So what advice would you give someone who has a goal of being an entrepreneur or wants to climb up the corporate ladder?
I don't necessarily know that an entrepreneur is that focused on the corporate ladder. I think an entrepreneur is focused on developing an opportunity and will then lead from the front. So, so I think they're slightly different avenues or disciplines, if you like. Climbing up the corporate ladder is perhaps more about management and things like that, whereas an entrepreneur is going to develop ideas which he can give to managers to go and implement.
As you said, you're out there right in the front.
That's what an entrepreneur does, yes. That's what I think.
Okay. So they're very important words of wisdom. You're out there. You've been doing it for a long time, and really important to take note. Especially when you talk about being open to opportunities, you need the traits, but you also have said very clearly that you've done a lot of personal and professional development, and that's really important. You don't just get to where you are. It takes a lot of training and reflection and the actual experience of doing it. So thank you very much, David, for sharing your story with us. Really appreciate your time and coming in. And if you would like to know a little bit more about the courses available to perhaps be an entrepreneur, or for your own personal development, perhaps you're interested in career counselling, career coaching, please feel free to see us at crowncoaching.com.au. Thank you.